Hello folks, Jason Chrisman, JC's Bees, your Central Ohio beekeeper. Today is Friday, November 20th. It's about 7:15 a.m. and we're sitting at 28 degrees. A little frigid this morning, I can tell you. For a person that don't have much hair on his head, ears are a little cold this morning. Normally I'd have my boggan on, but you know, I wanted to show off my new hat. So we'll suffer through the cold a little bit this morning. Had a few more beautiful days this week. Actually got a chance to do some more open feeding, and I got some new feeders from Lifeline Bees earlier in the week when it was still cold, so I was able to give them a test run this week, and I'm going to share them with you in today's video. Matter of fact, I'll share them here in a couple minutes. I also got a new package in from BroodMinder I want to share with you. They're going to be having a Black Friday sale, and I suggest you hang around for that announcement, because this offer that they're going to have on Black Friday, it's pretty impressive. I'm going to show you what's included and talk a little bit about how it works, and then I think probably midweek I'm going to release a video showing how to set it up. So if that's something you're interested in, is following your hives through BroodMinder, make sure you pay attention. We're also going to take that hive scale that I put in, well, actually I put it in that blue box right there last week, if you remember. And the idea was to have some kind of a temperature gauge out here in the bee yard so I could get an accurate temperature versus using a local weather source. But after some consideration and some suggestions, which I should have thought of, if I turned the hive scale long ways with the hive, then snow can't land on it. But there's still a little situation there. The snow's still going to land on the top of the hive and increase the weights. So my idea there is every time we get a little snow or a little ice and it sticks to the colony and the weight increases, I'm going to go into mybroodminder.com and make a note on that day, so I realize why the weight increased. And then, you know, when the snow or ice melts off the colony and the weight comes back down, I don't want to think, damn, they ate 8 pounds today. No, the snow melted today. So I'm going to make a note on the day the snow melted. So I think it's going to be rather neat to be able to see the hive weights, and I think you're going to enjoy seeing how the scale works. So hang around for that. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get started. Check out these bee feeders. So I've been given another chance to feed the bees. We're pushing about 56 degrees right now, and tomorrow is supposed to be a little warmer yet. Yesterday I got a little surprise from Lifeline Bees, and I wanted to share it with you. So let's go ahead and open it up. If you remember right, Lifeline Bees has developed a bee feeder with a bottle. You put the syrup in, and then on top they've got a flower, and on the top of the bottle you're able to put pollen substitute. And it's a beautiful bee feeder, and it works very, very well for open feeding. But he's been 3D printing these for the last couple years that I know of, and he's been going through the process of getting injection molds made up, and these are the finished product. Okay, so what we have here is the bee flower. Here's the bottle, and here's some stakes to put them in the ground. So let me give you a closer look of what these look like here. So here's the flower. It says lifelinebees.com down at the bottom, which that's the website if you would like to go check these out and place an order. Here is the bottom that your bottle goes on. So it'll go on, you'll remove this lid. You'll stick the bottle down in here, fill it up with syrup obviously, put this on, then you invert it, and then you put your flower on the top. Then the flower goes on top and locks down on the bottle. Boy, that fit nice. That fit nice. Really liked how well that fit on there. And your pollen substitute can go up here, and then this is the cap to keep the pollen sub dry Very, very nice looking product. Very impressed. And I liked how they added these extra tabs here to give this some strength. And they're all the way around. There's another one. There's another one. So the fingers are nice and tight now. Very nice. So, and then on the bottom, that's where you'll stick the stake to put it in the ground. So let me get one set up here. And I've actually got some syrup that I've made up. Trying to find some syrup in the bucket that they drained last week. And there's just nothing going on. So let's fill up a couple of these. And we'll let the bees eat on these the next couple of days. So that's how easy it is to set them up. And if I really felt energetic, I could run in and get some pollen sub and put up top here, but I am going to get the BroodMinder set up versus going in and getting the pollen sub. I'll probably throw some hay on top of that and let them suck that down just the way it is. So what I did was, when I got this BroodMinder kit, I set up the open feeders from lifelinebees.com, and then I went around and installed this BroodMinder kit that I got. And boy, after I got the kit installed and came back to the feeders, this is what it looked like. And this is in a time frame of about 15 to 20 minutes. So check this out. I'll tell you, just in 10 or 15 minutes it took me to go through there. And there was some I had to add more than just the temperature sensor. That one there needed a feeding ring because the BroodMinder was actually thicker than the space from the top of the frames to the inner cover or the lid. So it was gapping it open, and I don't want that gap. So I went ahead and added a feeding shim to that one. But anyway, the time it took me to go through there and add them sensors, look at this. I love how they go around the edge of the flower. It's like cows at a hay feeder. And then if you got cows and goats, the goats will be the ones in the middle climbing on the hay while the cows are on the outside sticking their heads through. Trust me, I have experience. I've seen it many times with goats and cows. About what it looks like. They're sucking her down. So do you think the bees like the feeders? I know they're very handy to have and use for open feeders, and they look nice, so what the heck. So if you're interested in checking out these feeders, go over to lifelinebees.com, and there you'll find they have, I think there's 5 different colors, so go check them out. So now let's go ahead and check out adding the hive scale to nuke number 803. Well folks, I decided to add the hive scale to one of my nukes. After the great suggestions last week on how to keep the ends of the hive scale from getting snow on them, it was pretty obvious that turning it long ways with the nuke would be a way to keep the snow off of it. It still creates a little problem though, because we're still going to have snowfall land on the top of the hive, which is going to increase the weight until that snow or ice or whatever it may be on top of the hive runs off or melts, one of the two. Or melts then runs off, I guess. So what I'm going to do here is I've added a bottom board from a 10 frame colony. I've got it upside down. Over here I've got my hive scale, and over here I've made a pivot point. What this is going to do, you can see it's got a nice rounded angle at the top, is that's going to help the weight pivot more and keep more of a balance on the scale versus having a flat 2x4 over here and the scale on this side. So I've got them with this piece of plexiglass underneath of it just to make this setup the same height as this. So you can also notice at the back I've taken a top bar from a deep frame and I'm using it to elevate the back, so that way all the moisture can still run away from the entrance or run off the top of the hive and escape instead of being trapped up there because it's level. So really all I need to do at this point is lift this box up and set it over on here and make sure everything sits nice and square and doesn't have any wobble to it. So that's what we're going to do right now. Before we go any further though and cover up the hive scale itself with the nuke, I talked to Rich Morris yesterday at BroodMinder, and he fair warned me that this plastic casing can crack over a few years and then moisture is able to enter. Once moisture enters this device, it acts kind of wacky. So you want to prevent moisture from getting in there. So what he suggested I do was take some good box tape and tape the ends. This will help keep the moisture from getting into the device and probably prolong its life. After talking to Rich yesterday, I got to looking at my casing here, and it is cracked on the end, so I figured I better take his advice and follow suit with the tape. So it doesn't look the greatest, but it is taped up now. We'll do the other end real quick and then we'll move over the nuke. There we go. Feel much better about it now that I have it taped up. So that's back on. We'll slide this sleeve on, which is going to be real fun now that I got tape on it. All right, there it goes. So I think I've got it set just right to where I can just lift the nuke up and set it over on top of here. Let's give it a try. So what's the first thing you noticed when I moved that nuke? First thing I noticed is this moisture on the top started dripping right here. That is awesome. So now all we need to do is sync the hive scale on the BroodMinder Apiary app and see where the weight lies. I've added the brick back to the top, so that's going to give us a total of the nuke with the bottom board, the frames, the bees, the comb, the food stores. So everything here is going to be weighed. And it looks like the verdict is in. We're sitting at 35.6 pounds. That's not bad for a single 5-frame nuke box. But I would still like to see it closer to probably the 40-pound mark. Because I have to keep in mind that we are weighing the equipment and that brick on top, which is probably a good 3 or 4 pounds in itself. So I knew the hives were a little lighter than I liked, and I'm just going to have to supplement throughout the winter. But this hive scale is going to help me keep track of how much they've got at the current moment and how fast they are consuming it. So now what I'd like to do real quick is just show you the readings I got once I placed the nuke on the hive scale. You can see here how it greatly went up, and over the next few days it kind of fluctuated a little bit as I open fed and they consumed some of the food. I do want to say that I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it does give you a pretty ballpark idea on where your hive sits as far as the weight. Ladybug. Ladybug's missing in action. It's not good, folks. That dog is in full-blown heat. I don't need no puppies. I don't need no beagle bully puppies running around here. Don't want it. Nope. Got to keep a close eye on her. Where's she at? Ladybug. Here she comes. Here she comes. You see her? She's doing her exploring this morning. Had to go potty and all that good stuff. You know how it is. It's been bothering me for the last hour and a half when it was still dark. Daddy, I need to go out. I'm like, honey, it's not time. It didn't matter. She kept pawing at me until I brought her out. So she's out here going potty. I'm recording the filler clips for my video, and the ducks are complaining because they want out. If I was closer to the coop, I could probably hear the chickens complaining. So that'll be right after this video. I got to go release them. Then it's right back into some warm coffee in my computer so I can finish editing this video. But before we get that far, I want to talk about this BroodMinder kit. BroodMinder is putting together a new kit, and what it contains is 10 T2s, which is the temperature sensors that you've seen me install last week. You're going to get 10 of those. Those are $30 a piece, and so you can take 10 of them, and 10 of them times 30, that's 300 bucks. Then they're also going to throw in a sub hub, which is an additional 100 bucks. So now you're up to 400 bucks, right? Not for the Black Friday sale. They're going to offer 10 T2s and a sub hub for 300 bucks, folks. So if you're wanting a chance to get your feet wet with BroodMinder and be able to monitor your hives from your phone, from your tablet, you might want to check into this. Now, I can't say for sure that it's listed on BroodMinder's site just yet, but give them a day or two. Go over there and check it out. And if you're interested, make sure you place an order. Like I said, I'm going to be releasing a video later this week showing how to set up this kit and what all it takes. Now let me explain this sub hub a little bit. So the sub hub, what it does is it makes gathering the information from your sensors a lot more easier. Instead of going into your bee yard and gathering all the information from your sensors one by one, with the sub hub you can do it in one click. Done. Collected them all. You see what the sub hub does is it sits out away from your apiary, and the sensors are sending a signal for a couple seconds every hour, and the sub hub collects that information and it stores it until you go onto your Bluetooth device and sync it. It also acts as an extender to the T2s and the TH sensors. So instead of being right in your bee yard to gather the information, I can set the sub hub, say 100 yards, 200 yards that direction, closer to my house, and now I can gather the information from inside my house, folks. No more coming out to the bee yard to get this information. And I've actually seen a couple videos, and I think Jim from Beano Farms has one that I've seen, where he took an old cell phone that he's not using, and he leaves the Apiary app running, and he's got this smartphone plugged in, sitting in a window, and it's gathering information from his sub hubs all the time, keeping the mybroodminder.com current with his information. So it's very, very handy. Now, I'm not saying you have to have this extra smartphone, but how many of us don't have an extra smartphone laying around? I think I have 4. So that's the steps I will be taking eventually. Right now I'm just using my current smartphone to gather the information from the sub hub, which I actually have placed on my front porch. So it works really well. I can sit right in my computer chair, gather the information from my sensors, and bam, done. So it's very, very handy. What I would like to do is I'm going to share a link down in my video description where you can go to becounted.org and check out the information from my hives. If you want to zoom in on Ohio, right to the right of Columbus, you're going to see a little balloon. If you zoom in on that, and it's going to be close to Newark, St. Louisville, Ohio, in that area, that's going to be my apiary. You can click on that and you can see the information from all the sensors right here in this bee yard, free of charge. It costs you nothing to go in and look at that information and see the information I am gaining from BroodMinder. I'd also like to mention that these new T2 sensors have swarm alert on them. And somehow, with the increase in temperature in just a couple minutes, lets BroodMinder know, hey, your colony is swarming. So you'll get an email right to your phone saying, hey, go collect your swarm, because usually, you know, when bees swarm, the first time they leave, they only go a few feet, or maybe 100 feet. and then they'll collect on a tree, and then once they fly from there, they're usually gone. So you'll get an alert saying, go collect your swarm. And I think that's pretty neat. Have yet to see that alert because it's winter, and hopefully I never do, but it is a handy feature to have. So like I said, if you're interested in this kit, go to BroodMinder.com, go to products, see if it's listed. If it's not listed yet, give Rich a couple days to get it up and on his site, and take advantage of this deal. It's a heck of a deal. You save $100, folks. So just wanted to share it with you. Like I said, midweek I will release a video on how I installed the kit. So if you have any questions or comments on anything I shared today, leave them down below and I'll do my best to answer them and help you out. I appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, throw it a big thumbs up. Maybe even subscribe to see more of my content. That'd be appreciated. If you do, make sure you click the little bell so you can get notified when those videos come out. So stay warm, keep the fire stoked, and have a good week.